What we have here is a coat that once belonged to the guest's mother before she inherited it. A close inspection of the coat's oversized sleeves suggests that it was made in the 1980s.
She used to work in fashion advertising design back in Chicago, and she was a big fan of Disney. And this coat was the centerpiece in her wardrobe and her collection for years and years and years.
It is crafted from a durable cotton twill and wool blend with faux fur, suited for studio or promotional wear during that era. The main highlight of this coat is that it comes from Walt Disney Productions and was likely issued to Disney staff, animators, park employees, or for a special promotion. The coat's bright pink color reflects Disney's playful, family-friendly branding. It is decorated with screen-printed Disney character graphics, specifically Mickey Mouse. The design features broad shoulders, a loose fit, and a double-breasted front. Coats like this appeal to both vintage fashion enthusiasts and Disney memorabilia collectors. And at auction, this piece would sell for...
Currently in the vintage market, they're selling anywhere from $500 to $800 each. So.
Good, wow, that's great.
On display is a diamond ring inherited by the guest from her mother, who in turn inherited it from her own mother. It's not just a jewel, it's a time capsule from the golden age of design. The diamond's original cut was invented in 1902 by Joseph Ascher.
When he invented it, it was unique, it was different. It's always kind of octagon shaped. It almost looks like a hall of mirrors. It reflects. It is actually a precursor to the emerald cut, and this became very popular cut in the 20s and 30s, and then it just went out of fashion, and now it is the hottest thing in the diamond market.
Joseph Ascher was a Dutch master cutter, best known for creating the Ascher cut and for cleaving the famed Cullinan diamond. What makes this piece even more desirable is the unusual and rare color of its centerpiece.
We actually look at it and decide how intense the color is.
Okay.
Now, it's hard to judge that intensity in the mounting. So most people that have yellow diamonds like to know exactly, is it a fancy intense? Is it a light fancy? Is it a vivid? And the darker the yellow is, the more valuable.
This Ascher cut diamond features numerous facets and weighs approximately 25 carats in total. It is set in a platinum-pierced mounting, a style common for the era designed to highlight colored stones while maintaining structural strength. Flanking the center stone are step-cut white diamonds, which enhance both its geometric precision and color contrast. According to the appraiser, the ring's 4 prongs appear to have been remounted, though this has little impact on its value. The ring bears no hallmarks, leaving its maker unknown, but the appraiser believes it originated in New York City based on its style. Ascher-cut diamonds remain highly collectible, and even without a known maker, this ring would command a price of...
I would say at auction today, $75,000 to $100,000.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding. And I'm being conservative. Are you surprised?
Yes, shocked. I can't, well, I'm not going to wear it.
Why not? Wear it.
Because I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher. Oh, that's
Where am I going to wear it? To the grocery store.
A splash of color frozen in time, long before modern ceramics dared this much whimsy. This is a ceramic majolica fountain, first spotted by the guest in a newspaper ad and later acquired for $300.
This was just about 30 years ago.
Okay.
And I walked in, and my eyes spotted this magnificent majolica fountain.
And you had to have it.
And I had to have it.
The majolica was produced by Minton Co., the premier Staffordshire ceramics manufacturer, for the International Exhibition of 1862 in London.
And there was a man named Minton who had traveled through Europe, and going through the French region of Rouen in 1849, he found a type of semi-opalescent glaze that he wanted to put on his wares. He went back and instructed his factory to start making these wares.
Each piece produced by the company bears a date cipher. At the bottom of this fountain, the cipher confirms it was made in 1862. Crafted from high-fired earthenware with a deep, glossy lead glaze, it showcases Minton's mastery of Victorian majolica techniques. Its surface is boldly sculptural, featuring a rich polychrome palette that embodies high Victorian eclecticism and the period's fascination with naturalistic and mythological motifs. The fountain is decorated with classical figures, modeled in high relief and seamlessly integrated into the basin and central column.
You have the beautiful mask and the foliate festoons terminating in mask handles. It is just a fantastic piece of majolica. It's wonderful.
At the base of the fountain is a monogram attributed to Alfred Lord Tennyson, the English poet laureate during much of Queen Victoria's reign.
The story goes that he had returned from Italy, and at that time he had been made the poet laureate.
Right.
And this was a presentation to him from his neighbors.
Given the artistry and provenance of this 19th century majolica fountain, it would command a strong price at auction.
It's worth probably about $30,000 to $50,000.
Yo!
It's a wonderful piece.
Yes.
And I understand you use it as a planter.
Yes.
Well, keep good plants in it, for goodness sake.
Orchids.
There you go. Perfect.
What we have here is a watch inherited by the guest from his sister, who passed away a few years ago. What first catches the eye is the watch's case, which is entirely finished in black enamel. Additionally, the case is studded with hundreds of rose-cut diamonds, enhancing its elegance and allure. According to the appraiser, this watch was likely made around 1900.
But for a lady's pendant watch to have lasted 120 years, give or take, and have no enamel damage or chipping is just a rare feat.
It was crafted by Tiffany Co. and is triple signed, with the maker's mark on the case, dial, and movement strongly authenticating the piece. The watch features a high-quality, manually wound mechanical movement, reflecting Tiffany FT Co. standards for precision and reliability at the turn of the century. Another hallmark of Tiffany on this watch is the substantial gauge of the case. Interestingly, the enameled dial is multicolored, a rare and fascinating feature in watches of this type. Given its quality and superb craftsmanship, this watch would have a retail value of
Would sell in the $12,000 to $14,000 price range.
Exhibited on the show is an exquisite ring that the guest purchased at an estate sale a few years ago for $200. This is an 18-karat yellow gold, enamel, diamond and ruby ring from the Art Nouveau period, circa 1905. Upon close inspection, the inside of the band bears the signature of its maker. Founded in New York in 1892, was a prestigious jeweler renowned for Art Nouveau and Edwardian-era designs, distinguished by innovative gemstone cuts and striking color combinations.
Hermann Marcus immigrated to the United States from Germany in the middle of the 19th century and worked for Tiffany & Company. He then went off on his own and formed Marcus & Company.
This ring features a Mughal-inspired design, with a shape reminiscent of a sultan's turban and a palette drawn from traditional Mughal colors. At its center sits a cabochon ruby with a rich pink hue, surrounded by green enamel work characteristic of Marcus Co. that blends Art Nouveau artistry with Edwardian refinement.
So rubies come in a range of colors from red to pink. The pinker saturated rubies like this are most often from Burma. So this I would characterize as a Burmese ruby.
Okay.
Because it was made by Marcus & Co., that makes me that much more certain that it is indeed a Burmese ruby, because they would be using the highest quality of goods available to them at the time.
The ring is further accented with diamonds, another hallmark of Marcus Co.'s craftsmanship. Authentic Marcus Co. rings from this era are scarce, owing to both limited production and their high original cost. An appropriate insurance value for this rare Marcus Co. ring would be,
I would say for an insurance value, closer to $20,000 would be reasonable.
Whoa, no way. Oh my gosh. Wow. Whoa.
So I'd say that was a pretty good buy.
This creature has survived for over a century, not in the sea, but in steel. What we have here is an iron lobster, collected many years ago by the guest's father. According to the appraiser, it was likely made by the Myochin family in 19th century Japan.
And the Myochin were armorers that used to make armor. But it turns out in the middle part of the 19th century, the feudal system collapsed in Japan and there was no need for these people to do anything. And what they started to do was make tourist objects like this.
It is crafted from hand-forged iron, meticulously hammered and shaped to replicate the texture and form of a real spiny lobster. Its carapace is finely chased and engraved, with individually rendered spines, antennae, and legs. An interesting detail is its artificial coloring, applied to enhance its lifelike appearance. Flipping the lobster over reveals movable parts, closely mimicking those of an actual lobster. The artistry of this piece exemplifies the high technical skill of Meiji-era artisans in Jizai okimono, a craft tradition rooted in samurai armor-making techniques. While primarily decorative, iron lobsters like this were also valued in Japanese culture as symbols of longevity and resilience. Such pieces are highly sought after by Japanese art connoisseurs, and at auction, it would easily be worth,
I would say a conservative price on this one would be $15,000.
Great.
This piece of metal has witnessed frozen grass, frozen fingers, and frozen moments of glory. The guest's parents, devoted Packers fans, acquired it at the Ice Bowl game on December 31, 1967. The game between the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys was one of the most historically significant matchups in American football history.
This was the NFL championship game, so it was a really big game.
Yes.
In fact, many consider it the most important of the year, even though the NFL winner would go on to play in the Super Bowl against the winner of the AFL. Now, what does he remember about the game?
This stadium sign is large enough for crowd visibility and features team logos, stylized typography, and Jerry Kramer's signature. Kramer, an American former professional football player, author, and sports commentator, played 11 seasons as a guard and place kicker for the Green Bay Packers of the National Football League. The sign boasts the Packers' green and gold color scheme. Some versions include snow or ice motifs, reflecting the extreme weather conditions of the game.
So the temperature was minus 13 degrees, and with the wind chill, it was minus 48. Now, I know Green Bay fans are hardy fans, but how do you handle 48 degrees below zero?
Well, I think it was hardest for my mom because my mom didn't have long underwear. And of course, you dressed up to go to these games. So it was very, very cold. And I just remember her coming home just frozen to the bone.
What makes this piece truly iconic is that it commemorates one of the most unforgettable moments in NFL history, when quarterback Bart Starr led a last-minute touchdown drive in frigid conditions, securing the Packers' victory.
One of the great offensive linemen of all time, and they go to a quarterback sneak. And Bart goes right behind Jerry, sneaks into the end zone, and they score the winning touchdown, 21-17.
That victory triggered pandemonium as fans rushed the field, tore down the goalposts, and amid the chaos, the guest's father managed to claim this sign.
So while they were doing that, my dad went and got tools so that he could bring this home. They were screwed in around the stadium.
Original signs from the 1967 Ice Bowl are rare and highly coveted, especially among Packers fans. As a piece of rare sports memorabilia, this Ice Bowl sign would command an auction price of,
I think it would be at least $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh, wow.
And I just want to thank you for bringing the coolest piece possible into the roadshow.
Thank you.
Born in the decade of big waves and even bigger dreams, this board was built for legends. The guest discovered this blue surfboard at a yard sale and purchased it for $50. Known as the Blue Machine, it measures nearly 10 feet in length and dates to around 1965. It was crafted by Tom Morey, an innovative American surfer, inventor, and engineer, best known for creating the boogie board in 1971. His work revolutionized wave riding, making it more accessible to people of all ages and skill levels. Morey produced this particular surfboard in collaboration with Carl Pope. What sets it apart is its single-fin design, featuring swept-back templates for speed and stability in larger waves. The board has a foam core wrapped in fiberglass and polyester resin, a technological leap from the earlier balsa wood boards. Surfboards from the mid-1960s are closely tied to the golden age of surf culture, and at auction, this piece would be worth...
At auction, this would probably be in the $5,000 to $8,000 range.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, better than $50.
Today's guest brought onto the show a chair that was purchased by her sister in the late 1970s. This is no ordinary chair. It was made by a leading figure in the arts and crafts movement, Gustav Stickley. Stickley was an American furniture manufacturer, design leader, publisher, and a leading voice in the American arts and crafts movement. Compared to a lot of Stickley's other chairs, this particular chair is lighter and it features thinner pieces of wood. On the back slats, there are inlays of pewter, copper, and rare woods, decorative characteristics of European arts and crafts style.
Harvey Ellis was a designer. He's an Englishman who worked for Gustav Stickley for not much more than a year. He was an alcoholic and he died in 1904.
Oh my.
But he brought this rather decorative European arts and crafts style, and it modified Gustav Stickley's more severe look.
Looking closely at the inside of the chair, there are holes that had a cane seat foundation that a cushion would rest on. There's a mark on the side of this chair, a very early Gustav Stickley's mark that dates back to circa 1904. The chair finish is remarkable, with slight variation in the appearance of different parts, which shows that the chair has been used extensively.
That's not a bad thing. It shows this chair's not been cleaned. If anybody refinished this chair, they would have evened out the color on the arms. But if we turn the chair around, the color on the back is this rich chocolatey brown fumed finish. It's really what you want to see on a Harvey Ellis chair and makes a vast difference in price.
But rather than detract from its value, this wear further adds to the value of the chair. High-quality Stickley chairs from the early 20th century are highly collectible for their craftsmanship, and this piece is estimated to be worth
$40,000 to $50,000.
Oh my word. That's
Several
awesome.
things would make it worth less. If it was refinished, $10,000 to $15,000.
In the mid-19th century, even your desk accessories could be dangerous. Showcased here is a paperweight that was originally owned by the guest's brother before she inherited it. This piece is crafted from French blue Opaline glass, celebrated for its luminous, milky translucence and subtle glow when light passes through.
Now, the French did lots of opaline. You find blue opaline and green and pink and white. The three major French crystal houses, Baccarat, Saint Louis, and Clichy, who worked in the 19th century, all produced this type of glass. This would have been made during the classic period that the French did paperweights, which is the 1840s to 60s.
Typically, artisans would take a goblet or decanter and coil glass around it in the shape of a snake. This piece, however, is different. The glass itself has been coiled and shaped into a fully three-dimensional snake. It displays a striking robin's egg to turquoise blue tone, a fashionable shade in mid-19th century decorative glass. The snake is accented with gilding along the top, while the underside reveals the plain opaline surface. Serving as both a functional desk accessory and a decorative object, it reflects refined 19th century taste. Opaline glass with figural motifs, especially a snake, is uncommon, and at auction, it would be worth...
I would put a value of about $2,500 to $3,500 on it right now.
How exciting.
It's a great thing, and it's really a marvelous piece of French 19th century glass. I want to thank you for bringing it in.
Well, thank you very much, and now we're all going to be fighting over the snake, so thank you.
The guest brought a Wedgewood Fairyland luster bowl from the 1920s onto the show. As the name implies, this bowl was made by Wedgewood and crafted from fine bone china. It is decorated with Wedgwood's signature iridescent luster glaze, which creates a shimmering, multi-tonal surface. Most Fairyland luster pieces were designed by Daisy McKeag Jones, whose fantastical imagery defined the line.
And she just had wonderful imagination, but seldom do we get signed pieces of Daisy. This piece is signed in the rocks, MJ. We almost never find them.
The bowl's interior features elaborate, hand-painted mythical scenes, populated by fairies, gnomes, and stylized flora. The bowl is also footed, and on one side there is a scene of leapfrogging elves. An additional detail is the inclusion of a whimsical verse in the decoration, adding to its charm and allure.
And I was looking to see where it began, and actually I think I found it. It says, gray for the goblins, blue for the elves, brown for the little gnomes that live by themselves, white for the pixies that dance upon the green, but where shall I find me a robe for the queen?
The bottom bears both the bone china mark and the maker's mark, further confirming its authenticity. Bowls designed by Daisy McKeag Jones are incredibly rare, and at auction this piece would be worth...
On the market today, I would expect it to bring anywhere from $7,500 to $10,000.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Today's guest brought a poster that was given to her by her friend, who purchased it in a shop for a few dollars. This poster is advertising Trans World Airlines flights to New York City, and it was done in 1956 by David Klein.
And David Klein was a very prolific artist who worked for TWA. This is one of the more recognizable and one of the more popular images that he designed.
Really?
And in my opinion, it is one of the greatest graphic depictions of Times Square.
Klein was a leading American commercial artist whose work defined the golden age of mid-century travel posters. The poster features a bold, abstract depiction of Times Square, New York City, and it is rendered in Klein's vibrant graphic style. Additionally, Klein made use of saturated colors such as cobalt blue, crimson, emerald green, and sunny yellows, paired with high-contrast black outlines. Furthermore, the typography at the top of the post is clean, modern sans serif lettering with TWA and New York, alongside the TWA Lockheed Constellation plane. This poster is part silkscreen and part photolithograph, giving the poster both sharp line detail and rich color saturation. Also, the poster combines simplified forms with a sense of motion and excitement, appealing to both design historians and vintage travel ephemera collectors. Original 1950s TWA Klein posters are highly sought after, particularly those in near-mint condition. This particular poster remains in mint condition, and given its collectability, it would be worth.
I would estimate this piece between $2,500 and $3,500.
Oh my gosh! Oh, he's going to be so thrilled.
And we have you on camera saying you would split the price with him.
I told him I would.
Today, we're exploring a fascinating piece of literary history, Tasha Tudor's book, Pumpkin Moonshine. This is her debut book, and it holds a special place in her heart. Tasha originally created this story as a little booklet for her niece. She hand-illustrated the pages and bound them together with string. Years later, she decided to share her creation with a publisher.
Even though the illustration in the book is good, there's still a little better in the original. And Tasha Tudor is one of the great icons of illustration, children's books.
Tasha Tudor is renowned for her exquisite illustrations and her contributions to children's literature. The guest met Tasha Tudor and had an unforgettable experience.
When you turn to the back, there's another of the illustrations.
The guest purchased this book through a mail-in auction for $1,200. Tasha Tudor's children's books and illustrations, such as this dark Halloween-themed one, are in great demand. Despite the book's condition, its illustrations make it easily sellable for.
Would easily go for $8,000 to $10,000 in a retail bookstore, children's art shop, or so on.
This cane, purchased online a few years ago, features 35 intricate carvings of North American creatures.
All species that are indigenous to North America.
The cane's lightweight construction suggests it's made of white pine, or basswood. Intricate details from the crocodile at the top to the spider at the bottom showcase the carver's skill. Negative space between the spider's legs adds depth and realism to the carving. Intact metal ferrule protects the cane and indicates the cane's original purpose as a walking aid. The carver's expertise is evident in the complex designs and realistic portrayals of animals. Despite the lack of a known carver, the cane is likely a product of the late 19th or early 20th century.
We look at canes and we sometimes judge them as good, better, best. And I think clearly this falls into the best category.
Oh, wow. It looks like a real snake is wrapped around the cane. The absence of paint on the cane suggests that the carver intentionally preserved the intricate details. The guest paid $250 for it. Its value is high due to unique qualities, intricate details, and historical significance.
I think in today's market, a fair retail valuation for this would be $6,000 to $8,000.
Oh my God. I had absolutely no idea. Oh, great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This opal butterfly pin was purchased at an estate sale in 2015. Opals are formed from silica, compressed over millions of years by plankton, algae, and diatoms. Its vibrant color suggests it originated from Lightning Ridge, Australia. Opals are relatively soft stones compared to sapphires or diamonds. Opals have a rich history associated with magical powers, especially butterfly jewelry, which has positive effects. Victorian era saw a surge in popularity for opal jewelry, especially insect-themed pieces. This particular opal pin features 2 ruby eyes and a European cut diamond. UV light testing confirms the opal's natural state and unaltered properties. The pin's frame is made of 18-karat yellow gold, as indicated by a marking inside. It has no mark and appears to be made in England during the Victorian era of 1875. It is beautifully oxidized and contains both silver and gold.
I believe that I paid a little over $500. She thinks closer to $1,000. So we'll say she's right. I'll say $1,000.
I'm going to go with $750.
$750.
The opal butterfly pin's unique combination of materials and history make it a valuable and captivating piece.
I'm going to go with, at auction, $3,000 to $5,000 today.
Great. Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you.
The guests shared an interesting story about acquiring a remarkable gown. They explained that they were a hairdresser working with Brooke Shields on the Broadway production of Grease. Shields knew the guest was involved with Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS, and hoped the gown would help in raising more donations. The gown was then autographed by both Shields and renowned designer Bob Mackie, who also customized the belt into evening glove. The guest mentioned that Mackie, known as the Sultan of Sequins, had designed for numerous celebrities, including Cher and Mitzi Gaynor, and more recently, RuPaul. His beadwork on the gown is intricate, featuring bugle beads arranged in a diamond pattern. The gown features signatures of both Bob Mackie and Brooke Shields, with Shields' autograph located in a more daring place, right on the bosom of the gown, done with an ink pen that has unfortunately faded over time. The combination of Mackie's craftsmanship, Shields' personal touch, and the accompanying illustration make the gown significant. In the secondary market, a Bob Mackie gown typically sells for $1,000 to $1,500. However, due to its unique attributes, the gown is estimated to fetch around $7,500 at auction.
And so at auction, I would believe that this would probably bring $7,500.
Photographs capture moments and preserve memories, culture, and history for the future. A guest shared a special book of photographs by Edward Curtis, a famous photographer who documented life in Alaska during the 1920s. Curtis traveled along the western Alaskan coast, including the guest's hometown of Kotzebue.
I brought an unbound volume by Edward Curtis when he made a trip to Alaska late in his life, like in the 1920s.
The guest was surprised to find a photo of their adoptive mother, Priscilla Hensley, in the collection. They also found a tinted photo of a place near where they were born. The book depicted real people and activities from the guest's community, which made it especially meaningful. The guest had bought the book in San Francisco many years ago, unaware of its value. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
Probably expecting to see it go for around $10,000 at auction if everything is in really good condition, which I think that they are.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Imagine owning a piece of jewelry that not only hones some of the rarest gemstones on Earth, but was made by the very artist that helped redefine American luxury in the early 1900s. In 2012, an appraiser encountered a remarkable necklace brought in by Joan, a guest from Seattle. The necklace, inherited from Joan's great-grandmother, who lived from 1864 to 1926, was associated with the historic Kipps Castle, northern New Jersey. Featuring a rare black opal and Russian demantoid garnets, the piece was deemed as a historic item and initially valued at,
as a wonderful piece of historic jewelry, it would be $8,000 to $10,000.
The appraiser noted the value could double once it was confirmed to be a Tiffany piece. Following the initial appraisal, the guest had even more news come her way. The exquisite necklace was confirmed to not just be a Tiffany & Co. piece, rather a Louis Comfort Tiffany creation. Like the appraiser had predicted, with his name attached, the estimated value raised too.
The auction estimate on a piece like this can go as high as $30,000 to $40,000. Oh, I can't believe it.
At auction, the necklace eventually sold for an astonishing $100,000, surpassing expectations. A pair of Joe Strummer's boots carry a captivating rock and roll legacy. The guest shared that the boots belonged to Joe Strummer, the lead singer of The Clash. Her husband interviewed Joe during the band's first US tour in 1979. Impressed by the boots, Joe gave them to her husband as a gift. They have kept the boots for almost 35 years, stored in a closet without being worn. The appraiser asks about the interview, which was published in her husband's magazine. Joe Strummer's philosophy of taking what you want resonates with the appraiser. The appraiser notes Joe's impact on British punk and the political climate of the time. He also mentions Joe's untimely death at 50 due to a congenital heart defect. The boots have a blind stamp indicating their British manufacturer, adding to their authenticity. The appraiser estimates their auction value.
So at auction, with that information, I think we would expect anywhere between $5,000 and $7,000 for a pair of boots like this.
That's pretty amazing.
This is a pair of Queen Anne-style flintlock pistols dating from the continental period of 1770 to 1780. The pistols have been in the guest's family for generations and originally belonged to William Kayfax.
You are a very lucky person to have such a great family history and so many artifacts that you've saved through the years.
William was a captain in George Washington's elite corps of bodyguards tasked with protecting him during the Revolutionary War. These pistols are inlaid with German silver, adding to their elegance and craftsmanship. They also feature a grotesque head carefully crafted from German silver, enhancing their distinctive appearance. However, the most remarkable aspect of these pistols is that they were a personal gift from General Washington to Lieutenant Kayfax. George Washington was an American founding father, politician, military officer, and farmer who served as the first president of the United States from 1789 to 1797. Additionally, inside the pistols, there's a hidden miniature portrait of Kayfax, adding an intimate and historical touch. If this miniature portrait were to be auctioned, it would hold a significant estimated value due to its rarity and connection to the era.
For $50,000 to $70,000.
Furthermore, even without the miniature portrait, the pistols themselves, given their historical significance, would be highly valuable at auction.
Are worth about $5,000 in and of by themselves.
It's amazing.
This oil painting, created in 1947, is by the guest's father, Demetrius Jameson. He studied under the renowned German expressionist artist Max Beckmann at Washington University in St. Louis.
And you can really see he was picking up on the things that he was taught by the master.
It used to hang in the guest's grandmother's house. The painting shows a mysterious figure with red hair and a green skirt in a surrealist setting. Demetrius later moved on to a more modernist style. That's why it's a very valuable piece. It's a captivating example of American modernism, featuring crumbling structures and enigmatic elements. The painting, due to its unique style and historical significance for insurance, is estimated to be worth.
I would insure this one at $15,000.
Oh, wow.
The guest's family lived in Lima, Peru, from 1957 to 1966, where their father collected archaeological and primitive art.
The dates that you described, and we were very definitive about the dates, this was prior to any issue with the UNESCO convention, which is 1970.
The pieces were primarily from northern Peru and dated back to various periods. Authentication would involve gold testing, stylistic analysis, and expert examination. The collection included gold items, burial masks, necklaces, beads, and other personal adornments.
In my judgment, the dates are pretty varied here.
Okay.
I think this material is earlier. I think this could be before the birth of Christ. These things are a little bit later. Even the later ones, I don't think are any later than about 800 AD. It's really early material.
Most items were personal adornments, possibly used in costumes, shrines, or burials. A deity figure holding a scepter symbolized power and status. Burial masks were likely made of tin. Other items included bee-shaped necklaces and bead containers. Its historical significance, rarity, and provenance make it an incredible and valuable find, being appraised at.
Conservatively, you're looking at $50,000 to $100,000.
That's incredible.
The family had long treasured two pieces of furniture, a table and a high chair, both passed down through 3 generations. Always adorned with trinkets and a nightlight, the table had been a fixture in the grandmother's home. Both pieces were examples of late 19th to early 20th century manufactured furniture, dating from the 1880s to the 1920s. This table bore a label from the Wolverine Manufacturing Company of Detroit, Michigan. It featured barley twist legs, named after a 19th century candy called barley sugar, which the twisted design resembled.
Look at that!
it! Oh my God, that's exactly why we kept this table.
Because it's food related.
Because it's food related.
This high chair featured a pressed back where a roller die imprinted a pattern to mimic hand-carved detail. Interestingly, the high chair turned out to be a convertible piece, though the family had never explored its full functionality. The collective value of the table and the high chair, if sold at auction, could range between.
Either one of these come up for auction. I think you could see either piece bring perhaps as little as $100, but they could bring upwards of $300, maybe even $400 a piece, depending on who was the makeup in the audience that day.
A striking vase, once valued at $350 in the 1970s, was brought into the spotlight due to its intriguing background. Acquired by the wife's diplomat grandfather, the vase was thought to be a 19th century Chinese croissant. This vase was collected during their extensive travels, possibly in the 1920s or 1940s. Initially believed to be Chinese, the vase was actually Japanese, crafted during the Meiji period.
And it was made during the Meiji period when Japan just came open to the West.
The dragon symbolized imperial authority and highlighted the intricate craftsmanship of Japanese artisans. Dating from 1890 to 1910, the vase is beautifully designed, with minor flaws around the dragon's nostrils and back. Despite these imperfections, it was in great condition overall. In today's auction market, its value has significantly appreciated, estimated between.
Well, in today's auction market, this piece would be estimated at about $2,500 to $4,000.
Great.
From a $60 yard sale to a potential $12,000 auction treasure, discover the hidden value of a handcrafted 19th century storefront sign. A person found a pair of old signs at a yard sale in their hometown. The signs were believed to be early storefront signs, likely for Isaac Kaufman's business in Hillsborough.
Isaac Kaufman stands for Isaac Kaufman. He was a local in Hillsborough. He was German descent, from a good German family, and he and his brother-in-law, I believe.
They purchased both signs for $60. Isaac Kaufman, a local of German descent, formed businesses with his brother-in-law. The signs were hand-carved from solid brass, made on Gray Street in Cincinnati, Ohio. The details show careful craftsmanship, with gouged metal and small solder repairs visible. The finish likely once had lacquer, making the gold letters pop against a copper background. Experts valued the signs between $4,000 and $6,000 each at auction. The buyer was thrilled with the unexpected value from their $60 find. This is a portrait by Peter Hurd of his son, Michael, and the guests' parents came by it because they used to babysit for the Hurd's family. The Hurd's family are closely related to the Wyeths and are one of the big names in American painting history. Michael's parents, Peter and Henrietta Wyeth Hurd, were successful painters, and he also followed their footsteps by becoming a well-known painter. Part of his achievements were in 2016, when he was presented with the prestigious Governor's Award for Excellence in Art in New Mexico, his hometown. The painting is well detailed, the eyelashes and facial expression, and is done in tempera. Tempera is a difficult medium in which the artist uses an array of different colors. It has a gray color in the background and in his hair, along with a shadowed background, and a portrait like this is desirable at auction for its connection to the Hurds. Therefore, a reasonable estimate for this portrait at auction would be around.
At auction right now, in today's market, I would estimate this would bring between $4,000 and $6,000.
Oh, wow.
Here is a double case furniture that was likely separated after it was made and later put back together. The furniture features brasses on the top and bottom sections, which are original. However, the top section has various condition issues such as wear, marks and bruises, but the bottom section is in great condition. Looking closely, you would notice that the top was refitted to the bottom in 3 places, which was done about 20 years ago. Also, on taking out a drawer from the bottom section and another from the top section, it is confirmed that they were made from different pieces of wood due to their varying thickness. The 2 sections of this furniture were made by John Lark at different times in his life, so they were not originally fitted together. Hence, the upper piece, which was made in the earlier 1780s, would be worth $50,000, while the bottom piece, made in the 1960s, would be worth around.
This piece right here, attributable to Dunlap in New Hampshire, circa 1780. This would have been about $25,000.
The guest brought in a book that was handed down to her as part of the family's heirlooms. It is from the 18th century, printed in America, and is in calf binding, which is typical of the period. Although books from that period are expected to be worn out, this book has held up very well. Furthermore, it is a religious sermon printed by the famous printer, Benjamin Franklin. It is an early print by Benjamin during his younger years in Philadelphia. The sermon was delivered on December 30th, 1731, and printed in 1732. However, one was made earlier in 1728. This rare book is an early representation of a printing by Benjamin Franklin, so its value at auction would be...
It's rare. It's a rare book, and I would put a value on this of $3,000 to $4,000.
How much?
$3,000 to $4,000.
The guest brought a program from the Wisconsin-Iowa game and 2 letters. Her grandparents went to the 1939 Wisconsin game and gave the program to her mother and her aunt. The sisters decided to write to one of the players, and her aunt wrote to Niall Kinnick. Niall Kinnick was the Heisman Trophy winner that year. He was the 5th ever Heisman Trophy winner of 1939. The letter can be referred to as a pre-Heisman Trophy letter written by Niall Kinnick because it was written and autographed a month before he won the trophy. After Kinnick won the Heisman Trophy, he went to law school but didn't finish. Then he enlisted in the Navy as a Naval Air Reserve, where he met his tragic end a month before his 25th birthday. On June 2nd, 1943, while on a routine training expedition off the coast of Venezuela, his plane had an oil leak which led to his death, and his body was never found. Moreover, this is the most rare Heisman Trophy autograph, and the program is taped along the spine with condition issues. At an auction, the program and its card, that is a 1955 Bowman, would be worth $100 each. However, for the autographed letter, an insurance value would be $50,000, while an auction estimate would be around.
Not from what you're describing, $1,000 or something?
We think that at auction, this piece could sell for $15,000 to $20,000.
You're kidding. Oh my God, my husband's going to be so excited.
The video opens with an introduction to Marsha Bemko, the executive producer of Antiques Roadshow. She reflects on her favorite moments from the upcoming season, which premiered on January 6th. The first segment features Betty Krulick's appraisal of a Sanford Robinson Gifford painting. Sanford was an American landscape artist and a key figure of the Hudson River School. Despite the painting's filth obscuring the signature, Krulick managed to discern it in every brushstroke. The video then shifts to Detroit, showcasing Burt Lahr's grandson with Lahr's script from The Wizard of Oz. Burt Lahr was an American actor in theater and film during the silent film era and early talkies. He started in romantic, melodrama, and adventure films. The Kansas City segment introduces a 100-year-old book by Madam C.J. Walker, born Sarah Breedlove, who is celebrated as America's first female self-made millionaire. Additionally, Buddy Ebsen's widow presents 2 pairs of his dancing shoes and a photograph. Buddy Ebsen, also known as Frank Buddy Ebsen, was an American actor and dancer. One of his most famous roles was as Jed Clampett in the CBS television sitcom The Beverly Hillbillies. Finally, in Richmond, a child's acquisition of an Albert Nohoy's watercolor painting is featured. Johannes Albert Nohoy's was one of the best-known painters of the Lawrence School and a friend of many of the Hague School painters. Following the appraisal, the painting's estimated value is revealed to be.
Estimated value on that painting is a $300,000 insurance replacement value.
While this iconic book's potential retail value is approximately to be.
This book would sell for $10,000 plus.
Due to their historical significance related to the iconic actor, these pairs of shoes would be valued at.
I wouldn't insure them for anything less than $20,000.
Lastly, if this iconic and historic painting came to auction, it would likely be valued at
$1,000 and $1,500.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ceremonial clubs, often symbols of honor and prestige, hold deep cultural significance. A guest recounted the story of a unique family heirloom, a ceremonial club discovered by their great-grandfather on his Oregon farm in the early 1900s. Passed down through generations, it hung for years in the basement of the guest's great-aunt before being inherited by the guest. The appraisers identified the artifact as a ceremonial club, not designed for warfare, but likely symbolizing honor or warrior prowess. Measuring an impressive 22.5 inches, it far exceeds the typical size of such pieces. The appraiser suggested it could be several thousand years old, predating the arrival of non-native people in the region. The guest was astonished by the club's historical importance, especially considering it had once been casually displayed in a basement. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
"On a retail basis, I think we are talking in the neighborhood of $7,500 to $8,500.
Oh my goodness.